Did you guys know that I hate Modern Plants vs. Zombies 2 and that Modern Plants vs. Zombies 2 sucks in general? If you didn't, I'm actually shocked. If you do, then you know that Plants vs. Zombies 2 at this point has reached its finish line. There's no new content that's exceptional, and it's still going, but the horse is beat by now. It's a very, very dead horse. Though, trash-talking Modern Plants vs. Zombies 2 is also beating a dead horse, ironically enough. I think I've done enough videos explaining why it sucks. So let's get straight to the point. Today we're going to talk about Plants vs. Zombies 2, the Chinese version. On August 1, 2013, a month after the original Plants vs. Zombies 2 ad first came out, the Chinese version of Plants vs. Zombies 2 was released by PopCap Shanghai. China has a large gaming industry, one that's very different from the international one, especially in the mobile market, so they concentrated on Shanghai, China. In September 2013, a month after its release, TalkWeb Games would become the operators of this version. TalkWeb Games was previously responsible for the Chinese version of Plants vs. Zombies, Bejeweled, and Zuma. Now, let's answer the question. How different is Plants vs. Zombies 2 China from Plants vs. Zombies 2 International? To start off, one of the biggest differences of Plants vs. Zombies 2 China's gameplay compared to International is the removal of power-ups. Power-ups in PvZ2 weren't exactly my favorite part of the game. They were very random in International. I understand their intention was to use them when things got overwhelming, but they just stand out like a sore thumb in my opinion. The power-ups were replaced by the Tactical Cuke. The Tactical Cuke, unlike some other Chinese plants, is in the International world of Plants vs. Zombies as well, appearing in games like Garden Warfare and PvZ Heroes. Well, the Tactical Cuke in PvZ China works almost exactly like it does in PvZ Heroes. It will destroy all zombies in the lawn in a massive explosion, similar to Doomshroom. It will deal exactly 7,200 damage and 1,800 to any boss. Oh, and it's in the Internationals files, but it got scrapped for some reason. The Tactical Cuke costs 15 diamonds to use, which you know, isn't exactly ideal honestly. For comparison, the power-ups only required coins to be used. Now you need diamonds. Diamonds are really important in Plants vs. Zombies Chinese, and I'll elaborate on that in a second. I believe the Tactical Cuke isn't any better from the power-ups. Plants vs. Zombies, in general, is a strategy game. If I lose the level, it's because I used the wrong strategy. Having a pay-to-win plant that can destroy all zombies in the lawn for diamonds you can buy with real-life money ruins the whole point of the game. I don't like being negative, but I do not like the Tactical Cuke. Speaking of pay-to-win, let's introduce another part of the Chinese version, the puzzle pieces. The puzzle pieces are one of my least favorite parts of the game, and you'll understand why when I explain what they are. In order to unlock plants now, you need to obtain their puzzle pieces. 10 of them to be specific. There are many ways to unlock puzzle pieces though, whether it's doing the daily challenges, which consist of gargantuars or treasure yetis, harder levels, daily missions, and of course, the shop, where obviously you use gems, real life money. We love microtransactions. Yes, you can get a free chest every 24 hours, and obviously there's other ways to unlock the puzzle pieces, but still, it's a little bit of an annoying mechanic. I don't typically like lottery systems, and the chests are pretty much the definition of what's so annoying about it. Oh, you want to unlock a particular plant because you believe it'd be useful for your lawn? No, you get what you get and you don't get upset, but annoying, right? Though, the puzzle pieces can be used for more than just unlocking plants, but leveling plants up as well. The leveling system is different from International. It's ran by 5 tiers, which each tier makes them stronger or even gives them extra buffs. You can use the Plants Adventures feature in order to get specific puzzle pieces. The player can send in 5 unlocked plants on a quest to earn puzzle pieces for them, making it an easy way to level up. Afterwards, the plants you pick have a 1-hour cooldown until they can be sent again. But guess what? You can wake them up using gems. You can also skip these events and get the rewards instantly by using gems. See what I meant by gems being important? Costumes can also be bought, but unlike International, costumes can actually be used to buff different plants, specifically their plant foods, which I thought was a nice detail. I don't hate the costumes in Plants vs. Zombies 2, but I feel like now, with a lot of things in the game, like Vacebreaker, remember how that was in the game? Costumes were completely abandoned. None of them, at this point, are interesting in International. Oh, and levels are ranked by stars now, like Angry Birds. Cool, right? On top of the gameplay being so different, PvZ2 China has 6 new modes that the international version does not have. I think this is one of the best parts of the Chinese version compared to international. There's a lot of extra content. Apart from the new worlds and adventure, you still have these extra modes to play. I feel like you can never get bored in the Chinese version. It's better than modes like Penny's Pursuit and Arena at least, which are the most boring modes in international I have ever played, and I stand by it. So let's go over every single one of them. Let's start with the most interesting mode, the 2-player mode. The 2-player mode is not like international's Arena at all. Rather than fighting against a computer that clearly isn't a real human, you actually fight against a real person. Think of the Versus mode in the Xbox version of Plants vs. Zombies or Replanted, but with some changes. In the Xbox and Replanted Versus mode, there's strictly only 2 sides, one plant side and one zombie side. But in China's 2-player mode, you play in real time, taking down your opponent's base with zombies on one side, but also protecting your own side with plants as well, where your opponents can send zombies down. The plant selection is a little different and quite interesting as well. You can select 6 plants total, but depending on the slot they're in, they will have a certain tier. To elaborate, slots 1 and 2 will be in tier 1, slots 3 and 4 will be in tier 3, and the last 2 will be at tier 5. It really allows for some interesting strategies, as depending on where you put your plants is how powerful they will be, so you have to act smart. Oh, and a lot of plants are banned, like sun producers, manual plants, multi-lane plants, and plants with special gimmicks. So each player has 20 health. In order to win, you have to get at least 10 zombies to reach whatever flag on the end of your opponent's lawn. Each zombie will deal 2 damage to the base each time you take a flag. If a zombie does take a flag, you will get whatever sun you use on it as well. There are 20 total turns in one match, with a new turn starting after a certain amount of time. Let's explain your defense first, the plants. You start with 550 sun, with a limit of 10 plants. Since you do not have sun producers, you have to depend on the sun bank. You can upgrade your sun bank using whatever sun you have, but not just on how much sun you got, the limit being 700, but it also increases that 10 plant limit, the limit being 18 plants. During the first 2 rounds, you can only use your 2 tier 1 plants, with the tier 3 plants being available after 3 turns, and lastly, the tier 5 plants becoming accessible on the 5th turn. Now, the zombies. Starting the first turn, you will have an array of random zombies. You cannot select what zombies you want. Some are common, some are rare, you get the idea. And after other turns, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, etc., you'll be able to use other zombies over time. To send over these zombies, you will have to spend sun from the sun bank, the same one you use for the plants, in order to protect your side. So you have to act smart. You can also give your zombies buffs, but with each buff active, your zombie sun cost will double. You can also strengthen your zombies in the menu, able to level them up. I don't like the addition of a leveling system and PvZ2 in general, but I believe with this mode in particular, it makes sense. This really stands out as a great way to add multiplayer in Plants vs. Zombies. It feels more challenging and interesting than an international versus mode, and you're with actual humans. The next mode we have is Card Clash. Card Clash brings the tower defense formula and switches it up a little bit. It still keeps that tower defense style, but it turns it into a card collecting mode. In this game's mode, the lawn size is no longer a 5x9 layout, but a 7x13 lawn, a total of a whopping 91 tiles. The 6th leftmost columns belong to only the player, where they can play card decks, but not plant decks, only zombie decks. It's like an intense version of iZombie, where you fight against an elite zombie. Elite zombies are zombies with a lot of health and immunity. There are 7 different kinds of elite zombies in the game, which each one having a different set of skills. For example, there's an elite chicken wrangler zombie that will summon chicken gravestones that spawn zombie chickens, and it jumps up and down to release a horde of zombie chickens in its lane and adjacent lanes. Another example, there's an elite imp cannon that can fire imp pirate zombies on a random tile, or cannonballs that will explode in a 3x3 area. In terms of the player, there are different zombie cards that they can use. You can collect more cards when you beat levels. You can pick 1 out of 3, and once you do, it'll be added to the collection. There are many zombies you can pick, and they all have different stats and different sun costs. I like this mode a lot. It's unique and stands out from the other modes, which is what I enjoy so much about it. When it comes to other modes that are an adventure, it's always nice to have what I would call a break time. Something that will keep you entertained and feel refreshing, but still follow the Plants vs. Zombies formula. Now we have another pretty creative game mode, the Creative Courtyard. It's the Mario Maker of Plants vs. Zombies 2. You can create custom levels, waves to be. You can decide what zombies come into these said waves, 10 waves of up to 15 zombies, even things like surprise attacks, like sandstorms or raiding party. Pre-planted plants on the lawn and more can be added as well, which is pretty neat. This allows for a lot of creativity among the community. You will be surprised how unique some of these levels are, which is why I love the Creative Courtyard so much. The PvZ community in China is actually very active, as one could see by checking out websites like Bilibili, a Chinese online video sharing website based in Shanghai. It makes sense why. PvZ is incredibly popular in Shanghai. Just look at the many PvZ toys in my last video, all from China. The next mode came out not too long ago, in August 2024. The Z-Telman Escape. Now this mode is run by seasons. So far there have been 3. All seasons have different themes, whether it's classic, medieval, or western. There are only 5 levels each season, and they're quite interesting. There are 2 sections of one level, but in both sections you have different plants. You have to pick 2 different teams for this one level in specific. Both teams cannot have the same plants. One can only be for one section and that's it. This mode's goal is similar to Arenas. It's a score-based system, rated by stars to be specific. In a limited time, you have to kill as many zombies as possible in the level, with other extra ways to gain points. So, in this said mode, we're reintroduced to elite zombies again, and they act almost exactly like you do in Card Clash. Strong zombies with unique mechanics that can also have zombie perks. There's an entire unique gimmick for the first 2 seasons as well. It's pretty silly. The P rain. If you place any P shooter on your lawn, for every P shot, a meter, the P rain meter, will go up by 1%. When it reaches 100%, aka after 100 Ps are shot, a heavy rain of Ps will come down to the lawn that will deal consistent damage to all zombies, which obviously would give you a better addition of points. Like a lot of these modes, this one in particular, you can use stars to exchange them for puzzle pieces. At least you don't have to solely depend on gems for that, right? And last for these modes, we have my favorite, Memory Lane. Memory Lane is in a way similar to Penny's Pursuit from the international version. It features level gimmicks and maps that are based on the first game. The day level, the night level, fog, roof, and my favorite, the pool. All these gimmicks work exactly like how they do in their first game, but now they're in Plants vs. Zombies 2. The best part about Memory Lane is that you can fight the Zomboss robot from the first game as a battle. Oh, and you can battle elite zombies as well. Yes, the concept of Memory Lane is pretty cool. In fact, all of these modes sound really thrilling, but there's something in particular I notice about a lot of these modes. China's level design sucks. But I will elaborate on that later. Let's go on to... Okay, so technically, PvZ2 China has a whopping 27 worlds. Most of them are from the Secret Realms. There are 12 worlds that mostly function like adventure mode. The only difference is that most of them don't follow a time period. Beating these worlds can get you rewards like puzzle pieces or even plants, which makes playing them pretty worth it, I would say. These worlds are separated by 2 sections, the easy levels and the hard ones. Sometimes they're even separated by 3, with the third being called the special mode. I will say that although these worlds are pretty interesting and there's a lot of new extra content, the level design for them are mediocre at best. There are 2 permanent secret realms, Fairy Tale Forest and Z-Corp. Fairy Tale Forest, the first secret realm ever added, is all about fairy tales. Witch zombies, a Red Queen imp, cavalry zombies, a freaking Gargantuar, and a Mirror Queen zombie. It's a little disappointing that personally, a lot of these zombies, like the cavalry zombie or the Gargantuar, are better off in a world like the Dark Ages. At least the Mirror Queen zombie fits the world that it's in. The world is all about magic. Most of the plants you unlock are very magic based, like the Hocus Crocus or the Hat Mushroom. The world's gimmick is the magic fog, which, I have to say, this is what makes Fairy Tale Forest a pretty bad world from a strategy standpoint. The magic fog is an inconvenience in 2 different ways. You cannot place any plants on tiles that are covered by the magic fog, which is pretty annoying, because at least in fog levels in PvZ, you were still able to place plants on it. But it's not just a fog. The fog can come in 3 different colors: white, blue, or purple. Each of these corresponding colors grant a magic shield to the zombie. White shields reduce damage zombies take by 25%, blue reduces by 50%, and purple by a whopping 75%. Yeah. And the worst part, the fog cannot be removed. It will go away momentarily by the magic winds. But do you know how annoying it is to see non-transparent fog take up most of your lawn with zombies that are incredibly strong? I think the developers of this realm didn't take into account how strong zombies can get when you strip a whopping 50% or 75% of damage. Z-Corp isn't exactly the best in terms of level design either. Z-Corp has all the zombies you see from the International Penny Pursuit levels, with 2 new exclusive gimmicks. They also redeemed Scaredy Shroom. Look how nice his design is compared to this putrid shroom. I hate him. Before I elaborate on why Z-Corp's level design sucks so bad, I'll explain the 2 main gimmicks: the robot vacuum and the printer. For the robot vacuum, a bunch of litter will be placed on the lawn, mostly papers and trash. Plants cannot be placed on tiles with papers on them. You have to coordinate the vacuum to clean this trash up. I mean, this trash can be incredibly annoying, but it's pretty unique, and at least there's a way to manually stop it, compared to something like the magic fog in Fairy Tale Forest. But the printer is what makes Z-Corp so bad in terms of the level design. It's pre-placed on a specific tile on the lawn and will toss papers at plants that will instantly trap them. Think of the octopus zombie, it's practically the same thing, but you know how I just complimented the robot vacuum's gimmick for not being annoying and unstoppable? Guess what? This printer is indestructible. There is literally no way to stop it. You cannot place plants on it, break it, etc. Fun fact, developers, indestructible stage hazards are not strategic in the slightest, and are nothing but obnoxious and a hindrance to the game. The magic fog and the printer do have potential. They really do. How I would personally handle it is that I would have the magic fog be able to be blown away by plants like Blover and Planturn. Planturn is in the Chinese version of the game. But for the occasions that the player cannot blow the fog away, or the parts that Planturn cannot cover, can boost zombies by a smaller percentage in terms of immunity. 50% is already overstepping. For the printer, I would just turn it to either a boss of some kind, or a zombie that, can actually be stopped. The vacuum gimmick is already good enough, but the printer ruins the world in general. There's the other secret realms as well, though they're only limited and aren't worth talking about too much compared to the ones that you can always play. But I'll still list and describe them for the sake of you viewers. Starting with Haunted Halloween, it's just a reused extension of the Lawn of Doom events with some extra content. Celebrating Chinese New Year is based on the Lunar Zoo year and features both day and night, with the night including sky lanterns as sun production and the daytime featuring snowballs. Children's Play Park is based after the Children's Day holiday and introduces a mechanic involving an ice cream van that brings a bunch of random zombies. Parkour Party is a little funny. It's an official crossover with Subway Surfers. Anniversary Carnival Party is a celebratory event for the game's 10th anniversary. How cute! Each level is based on a different world from the last 10 years. Frostbite Caves Resurgence is just an expansion to Frostbite Caves. I'm not sure why this is in the secret realm, as this is the only resurgence in the game. Auspicious Snow Welcome Springs is just like the Celebrating Chinese New Year realm, but there's no sky lanterns and snowballs. Nothing much about it. Walking in the snow to seek spring, similar to the last realm, there's really not much to it that makes it stand out. Speed Racing, though, is a pretty unique realm compared to the last 3. It is another crossover with Need for Speed Mobile. The zombies are pretty basic though, they're twice as fast with a new gimmick called the acceleration charges, which fast forward zombies about 2 tiles ahead. And lastly, we have what I believe is the funniest speed realm, the parallel universes. I love this concept. It involves an alternative universe where everything works differently, both plants and zombies. Plants don't have bizarre differences, like Pea Shooter just has a less recharge time, Cherish Bomb takes a minute to load now, etc. Zombies, on the other hand, most of them switch roles with other zombies or become the complete opposite of their original counterpart. There's also a tough Dave and a handsome Zomboss now. Nice. Some of these secret realms are pretty interesting, but there's not much content with a lot of them. Realms like a spacious Snow Welcome Spring and Children's Play Park doesn't get much out of them, but I won't blame the developers too much. They're meant to be limited events, and realms like Z-Corp and Fairy Tale Forest give enough content. Now, let's move on to There are currently 6 new adventure mode worlds that are out at the moment. They're all pretty interesting. Something I like about each of them is that they're all unique in their own ways, especially the underwater world. But they share a common problem with the Secret Realms that I will elaborate more in a little bit. We can start with Kung Fu World, the first non-international world. This time period in particular takes place in 1673, during the reign of the last imperial dynasty of China, the Empire of the Great Qing or the Manchu dynasty. The Kung Fu World is in the PvZ Gardenless fan game, and they practically share similar traits, but I will go over the world anyway. The world has 4 plants: Resident Radish, Fire Gourd, Heavenly Peach, and Bamboo Shot. It's a little shocking that the world only has 4 plants, and honestly, they aren't even that good either. They're very gimmicky and only serve a purpose on the world that it's in. A good plant would be one that isn't mainly for a zombie's gimmick. Why do you think people don't use split pea or cactus in PvZ1 unless it's for the digger and balloon zombie? The 2 new stage additions are Taiji tiles and weapon stands. The Taiji tiles are yin-yang symbols placed on the lawn. It's pretty much exactly like the goat tiles in Lost City, but with some differences. When you place a plant on a Taiji tile, plant food will be given to the player after some time. Then, it will disappear and shift locations, eventually disappearing. A nice little addition is that the more expensive a plant is, the faster the tile will give out plant food. The Taiji tiles are one of the only beneficial environmental modifiers, though similar to the goat tiles, there's not much to them compared to something like the power tiles, but I still think they're a nice addition. The next is my favorite, and what makes the world a top 3, the weapon stands. These stands can hold different weapons, whether it's torches or bombs, hammers, or even helmets. When zombies walk over to these set stands, they will collect whatever weapons on it. In my opinion, it's definitely one of the more unique modifiers in the game, and it definitely brings a challenge. A zombie like the hammer zombie can't deflect projectiles, or a zombie with a bomb can explode plants within a 3x3 area. That's why you have the Fire Gourd, who breaks weapon stands pretty easily. Though, this is a good example of the plant being too gimmicky, especially the Resistant Radish. The Resistant Radish is purely a counter to the Qinggong zombie, who moves all plants 1 tile forward. The Resistant Radish can prevent this. There's also a black hole gimmick in the last stand levels for some reason that the Resistant Radish can block as well. Now, let's introduce the hardest part of the Kung Fu world, the Gargantuar Bronze. These Gargantuars are way too powerful. They start as statues on the lawn. They can be destroyed, but if you don't, they will release after a certain amount of time. The problem is that they have a total of more than twice the health points of a regular Gargantuar, meaning it would have to take 4 instant kills to kill them. This is for both the statue and freeform, by the way. Yeah, you really should try to destroy that statue as soon as possible. The world also has no Zombas. You fight the Gunpowder Devil, the blade-wielding hero, and the Qigong Master. I would give this world a 7 out of 10. It was actually worse like 10 years ago. It was so bad that time that there's an entire essay on Reddit covering how to purely beat day 30. In summary, it was pretty difficult. Now, we can move on to my favorite world out of the many worlds that they have now, Sky City. Not only is it my favorite, but it's also the most unique out of the 6. They practically change everything in this world. The thing is, there's not really a set time period, at least not a confirmed one. It could be World War II, but jetpacks were invented after that said event. So maybe the Cold War? Who knows? If it's not obvious, you only have 3 ground tiles, and the rest are in the sky. The world gives you 8 plants. Most of them are attack plants that can fly in the sky, like the asparagus, the saucer, or even this cute one, the horse bean, as well as even a flying defense plant, the pineapple. It also gives Rotoboga an actual use. You can unlock it here rather than Frostbite Caves too, funny enough, which makes more sense. It didn't really fit in Frostbite Caves. One could say that this world is very similar to Big Wave Beach, but I disagree. In Big Wave Beach, the lawn being mostly water can be countered with Lily Pad. In Sky City though, there are no plants that can help you place non-flying plants on the sky. Yes, this means that all plants in the world are technically very gimmicky. Their main thing is that they can fly, though some plants can still be very useful in other worlds, like the asparagus. What I believe is one of the biggest differences of this world is how you lose. When zombies rush to your house, you cannot die automatically anymore. The ship has health now, and each time a zombie gets near it, they can take away health over time. The ship also has a cannon that you can use as a power-up beside the tactical cuke, though I don't really like this addition at all. Another mechanic in the world is the Thunderbolts. I very much enjoy the stage hazard, and you'll see why. It's pretty quirky. Thunderbolts can strike plants, but it could be either a positive charge or a negative one. If a plant's been struck with 2 positive charges, the plant will lose health slowly until it dies. If both are negative, the plant will be stunned, and if they're struck by both a positive and negative thunderbolt, the plant's attack speed will be reduced by 50%. The Anthurium plant can counter these thunderbolts. Yay, an actual avoidable stage hazard. And the best part, the Anthurium can also shoot electric balls towards zombies and use the thunderbolts against zombies. Now this is a good counter plant. Sky City is pretty difficult though. The zombies are pretty tough, and don't get me started on the Zomboss. It may be one of the hardest. You can try Sky City and Reflourish if you really want to play it internationally. It plays a little differently, but it's practically the same concept. Now we have Steam Aegis. Oh boy, I do not like Steam Aegis. Steam Aegis is a lazy mess. Yes, we can praise PvZ2 China for a lot of things, but sometimes it's not any better from the international developers, and Steam Aegis is an example on why. The world takes place during the Industrial Revolution, towards the end of the 18th century in Great Britain. It's a shame that this world feels so unfinished as it had so much potential. They really could have incorporated machinery, steam, and fossil fuels in general into this said world. Let's start with the mechanics before anything. The sewers. They come in two types, the steam sewers and the transportation ones. The steam sewers first appear in the lawn with a cover on, but after some time, toxic steam will blow the cover off. Any planets around the steam will take damage continuously. The second ones, the transportation sewers, can take a zombie from one place to another. There's a counter to these holes, of course, the flat shroom. It's the only plant that can be planted on the sewer hose. It cannot stop the steam though. How it works is that once the steam goes away, or you can use Horica or Blover, that's when you can place a flat shroom. So not rather than the steam coming back after 12 seconds, guys, it will only take 20. Wow! And then when the steam comes back, the flat shroom will be thrown off. It can also be eaten? Wow, isn't this such a useful plant? No, it's not. That's the problem. A lot of these plants are so gimmicky, and not just useless in other worlds, but completely useless in their own as well. It reminds me of Plantain with how it has a little gimmick that's replaced by a better one with Blover, or how Cattail is so much better than Cack with their Lotus Root. When you place him on steam, similar to the Flash Room, he will observe it and shoot out whatever steam it takes. Again, a very niche plant as the damage it does without the steam is pretty underwhelming. The zombies are very boring too. It's just a nothing burger Rush world. You can tell how Rush it was because it's literally a copy of modern day. This is a 2 out of 10 world. Next, we have the Renaissance Ages. Of course, if it's not obvious, this is from the Renaissance era. The Renaissance era is one of my favorite time periods of all time. The rediscovery of literature, philosophy, and art in general, how could it not be? This world actually has a lot of more gimmicks than the other worlds that I've mentioned, with a total of 3. Let's start with the most interesting one concept-wise, the Vitruvian Wheel. I always enjoy when a world's gimmick is in line with the time period it's in, and the Vitruvian Wheel is one of these said things, as it's obviously a reference to the Vitruvian Man. The Vitruvian Wheel goes as follows. In the beginning of a level, a wheel or more than one will spawn all over the lawn, with a few buttons either facing left or facing right called the Fleur de Lis tiles. When a zombie walks on these said buttons, these wheels will move whatever direction the button is, and this wheel can kill both plants and zombies. Thankfully, this wheel does have a counter. No Renaissance Ages plant can be planted on these wheels, except for the one that the world introduces, the Wax Guard. It's the only plant that can activate these tiles. If you place a Wax Guard on both a left and right tile, you can stop a wheel permanently, preventing any zombie from moving. Or if you place a Wax Guard on the same direction, the wheel will move faster, and you can simply let it leave off screen. The problem with this though is that there are technically other plants that can be planted on these tiles, like the Kiwi Monkey or the Sumo Melon, which are way better than the Wax Guard, as a Wax Guard simply just bounces zombies away when planted, while Kiwi Monkey does damage to all zombies, and Sumo Melon is an unlimited charge guard practically. And the second obvious problem, you're not gonna use the Wax Guard in any other world but this one. The second gimmick are the marble mounds and statues. These are pretty in line with the time period as well. They're fairly simple. The statues work almost exactly like gravestones, at least during the daytime. This is where the third gimmick comes in. What makes this world stand out the most is that these levels in this world work in a day-night cycle. Once it reaches a certain red flag, the lawn will turn into nighttime and statues will turn into zombies. The sculptor Imp Zombie can create statues out of marble mounds, which I thought was cool as well. The statues in the wheel are okay gimmick-wise, though my favorite part is the day-night cycle, as it's something other worlds don't have. There's nothing wrong with the wheels or the statues, they just don't stand out compared to the third one, as there's been gimmicks in the past that are pretty similar to the two. This world also made Aloe incredibly overpowered compared to International. Rather than only healing plants when they are in low health, they will heal plants no matter what. Its recharge time is 10 seconds rather than 20. She can boost plants' damage with her plant food. She has a chance to increase attack power and attack speed at level 2. She can always make plants around her attack faster every time she heals at level 3. Plant balancing at its finest, right guys? The Aloe is meant to combat the perfume zombie, as the zombie's main gimmick is to throw poisonous perfume at plants, and Aloe can counter it, but you can practically use Aloe for everything now. Who needs Heavenly Peach, am I right? All the other plants are okay. Thankfully they're not all too niche, like the Bearbari Mortar. The zombies on the other hand, personally, are not very interesting. The perfume zombie and the ballerina zombie, they come in groups of 4 and can slip from the oily olive, are the only ones that stand out. The Zomboss is one of my favorites out of all the new worlds though. He's meant to represent Shakespeare, sending zombies that are purely meant for the boss, like Romeo and Juliet zombies. The music and vibe of this world is absolutely gorgeous, but it's purely just an okay world more than anything. It's not unpolished and super boring like Steam Ages was, but it's a definition of a B-tier world. A 5 out of 10. The High-End Ages on the other hand though, okay, it's not as bad as the Steam Ages. It's not, but it is boring. The High-End Ages obviously takes place during the high-end period of Japan. It's pretty interesting that the worlds pass around throughout culture, not just strictly American and Chinese history, which I enjoy. Let's introduce the gimmicks, starting with the size and boxes. There are obstacles that cannot be damaged by plants at all. They're a little fascinating and involve plant food. There hasn't been an environmental modifier involving plant food before, so that's pretty cool. When you drag plant food in a specific box, what you receive depends on what kind of box it is. There are 4 types. The sun box, which will give you half of the sun based on whatever plants are planted within the 3x3 area around the box. The plant food box will activate the plant food effects of all the plants within the 3x3 area around the box. Then the upgrade box will upgrade all plants around it up a tier, but it will also upgrade nearby zombies, so be careful. Then lastly, the plant box, which will produce one random plant for the player to use. This world may be boring, but I have to say, the size and boxes are the best part of this world. It is such a creative gimmick, and it's refreshing to have an environmental modifier that isn't annoying and is actually an assistance to the player, as well as having an interaction between the lawn and plant food. The second mechanic isn't that fascinating, it's called the Divine Wind. There are 2 types, a small wind that will push a random amount of zombies forward, and a big wind that will blow away any plants that aren't behind a Dendrobium windbreak. This is all the plant does, by the way. It's meant purely for the Divine Wind. I think I've already explained enough what's the problem with a plant being purely for one gimmick. It's lame, it's boring. What makes this world so lame is that there's not much content apart from these mechanics mentioned. The zombies are very lock and key. What I mean by this is, the fireworks zombies' fireworks can be easily countered by the dripping Diphilia, as the plant splashes water around herself, causing it to extinguish flames but also chill zombies. Or when the ninjimp throws pufferfish, it can easily be thrown back by the Stephania, which attacks zombies by throwing leaves at them. The sushi chef zombie can throw sushi so zombies will run towards it, and whoever eats it receives a boost. But the orchid chef makes them completely indifferent to this. See the issue? Oh, there's a zombie? Guess what? There's also a plant that immediately counters this. Yes, I know I'm always talking about how Plants vs Zombies should be a strategic tower defense game, but it's so annoying when all a plant does is become a counter for purely one zombie. The plant designs for this world are also very weird, especially the dripping Diphilia. Very strange. This world is easily a 3 out of 10. It's kinda just a meh world with some interesting mechanics. Lastly, we have the underwater world, the latest world in the series. There is a lot to talk about for the underwater world, as it came in 2 parts, which is exactly why I'll be giving it its own video, as I considered it super different from the other worlds, and I feel like it deserves its own video. Listen, PvZ2 China may have its hardships. Audio quality can be a little weird sometimes, the plants can be pretty ugly, but we can at least give it some credit. It cares about the franchise, and isn't scared to expand a little. They're still releasing content to this day, and honestly, I'm excited to see what comes next. That's about it guys, and I'll see you in the next one.